So you're ready to start your van life journey, and you've decided that a T1N Sprinter would be the best for you. They are old vans by now. How do you know what you're going to need? How do you know troubleshooting? How do you know what to look for? Well, we've seen quite a few Sprinters over the last few years alone, and we'd like to share some tips with you in this T1N Sprinter Buyer's Guide that we've developed. We developed the Buyer's Guide as a tool that we wanted to share with the community. It's designed to help you avoid common Sprinter problems that you may not know the first time you go to look at a T1N.
So the prerequisites are as follows. You want a step ladder so you can get up and look at the top of the van. You definitely want a code reader. We recommend the Autel AP200. Whatever device you've downloaded the app into, and it's also a good idea to have a camera with you. Paper towels, gloves or hand cleaner. Voltmeter is always a good idea. This is a transmission stick, dipstick for a Sprinter. I highly recommend you have that so you can at least look at the color of the transmission fluid. And once the van gets warmed up, then you can also check the level of the transmission fluid, which may not be so important right when you're buying the van. It's a little bit of a hint as to how well it's been maintained, but it'll become real important if you buy the van and have trouble while you're driving it home. The same goes with this Torx and E-Torx bit set. Probably not needed when you're looking at the van for the intended purpose of trying to buy a van, but if you do buy it and you have trouble getting home, you're going to wish you had this with you. Things you do want to have with you though when you go to buy the van, regardless of taking it home: 5mm hex head or Allen key, socket to drive, or ratchet rather, to drive that or these if you need them. And of course, you need your Florida Van Man T1N Buyer's Guide. Download it now.
And what better way to scientifically test how a new tool works than with somebody who's never tried to buy a Sprinter before? Meet Karen. She's going to be touring our Sprinters today, and she'll be our guinea pig for the Buyer's Guide.
Uh-oh. Oh, it's a new van.
Sprinter Buyer's Guide. Introduction.
We are here today checking out this van that we have called Shorty. We're going to run through our Buyer's Guide that Mike made for us this week and just cover all the things you should know. So we've got this Buyer's Guide here. Link is going to be down in the description for you to contribute and download. So like I said, we're checking out Shorty here today. We call them that because it's one of the 118 wheelbases as opposed to the, is that true?
140.
It's a 140. I knew that. As soon as I said it, it sounded wrong.
Cut.
Today we're checking out Shorty. We call her that because she's a T1N like all of our Sprinters, but she's a 140 rather than a 158 as far as the wheelbase. She's just a little bit shorter than the rest of our girls. So yeah, let's go ahead and start with this. Just general things you should know about buying any car, not just ours specifically, I suppose.
Ready for the VIN?
Yes, we're gonna go ahead and jot that down. And for those of you who don't know, it is located right up here in front of your steering column, I suppose.
A lot of this information can be acquired before you even go to look at the van to save some time.
All right, Shorty is a 2006, I believe.
You can ask the seller that, but as one of my friends recently learned, that'll lead to being misinformed. So you want to go right here. Yeah, there we go. Manufacturer date February 05. You can also verify the VIN here.
Mm-hmm. Manufactured in 05, but that makes it model year 2006.
Do you happen to know if it's a Dodge Freightliner or a Mercedes? It's got the Mercedes logo, right?
Yeah, you have to look at the title to find out if it's a Mercedes, Dodge, or a Freightliner, apparently.
So it doesn't matter that there's a Mercedes logo right there?
No,
Correct.
They're all going to have that.
Well, I took Dodge emblems off of it, so.
All right, so it came with Dodge emblems.
For those who aren't Sprinter enthusiasts, T1N enthusiasts, every part is going to have that three-pointed star somewhere on it because they're all Mercedes made. Every piece of plastic in your van has a three-pointed star embossed on it somewhere on the back where you can't see it probably, because they're completely Mercedes made. Purchased by Freightliner and Dodge, shipped to the United States with the transmission in the cargo hold, where in North Carolina or South Carolina, one of those places, they take the transmission out and put it on the van and say, hey, we assembled it in the United States. Whoa.
We'll mark that for now.
2500 for sure.
Right, it's only got the two axles.
2 back wheels. It's not dualies. It doesn't have 4 back wheels.
Right.
Just a regular 2500.
Like we said before, it's Shorty the 140. So, is Shorty, it's obviously not a super high top, but it's pretty high up there. Would you say it's a high top?
I would say that's a high cab. They would classify this as a 2500 HC.
And that's because the rain guard is just about on the top of your roof. If there was a much wider margin there, you'd have the super high top. Not a taxi cab. Don't get them confused.
No, not a taxi cab at all.
Get into the small yellow sedan, not the big white van.
Did you get an odometer reading?
I have not gotten an odometer reading yet. Now, if you've ever driven a car in your life, this step should be pretty simple for you. But for those who haven't, we're gonna walk you through it step by step, don't you worry.
Odometer is right here on the dash. And this one's got just 496,545 miles.
Wow.
That's just a couple miles for a Sprinter. Any other car would have died 3 times already.
So what do I have to hit?
You have to hit the mile, MI. You push that, and it switches it from odometer to mileage. That number
Right.
is 223,980. 223,000 miles, 980.
Just 2.25.
It's still a baby. Right.
So that engine, is that on your manufacturer?
Nope. The best way to figure that out is to pop the hood, and let's go take a look at the engine. Excellent. Okay, so the easiest way to tell is sometimes these have a sticker on them somewhere. This one doesn't have a sticker, but it's a 647 because it has this style intake. If it were the 612, the intake would be about this high and go all the way back. Pretty much take up all this room in here.
So I made a little note about that to remember for later. The 612 has a straight intake that's kind of round versus a more slender curve. So that's about it for our first page. Of course, earlier today we made sure to bring our code scanner, our 3 different sets of sockets, our stepladder, Allen key, and voltmeter. Chapter 2. Just take a walk around the van really quick, assess the damages or the lack of. Any distinguishing features or things we like about it.
Like the G-Wagon wheels, those are great.
He does love his wheels, doesn't he?
The Mercedes logo's great. I like this. Can we get this one? Really mark things like
I was gonna say, if
the
you're crafty like
toolbox.
I am.
You want to mark the toolbox for sure.
And then we got some of this, a little bit of that up here.
Artist representation.
You know, it's something like that, right?
Right.
Here we've got our towing mirrors. They're really handy, especially on the longer vans, but they're nice to have even on something like this because you are just so high off the ground and it's hard to see out the back of your van, especially once you're living in it if you've got walls up. Towing mirrors are installed on this van. You may want to note down any stickers that are on the van just for your records, anything that will help you remember which van this is later when you kind of like weigh your pros and cons and things. Great wheels on this van. I don't have a coin with me at the moment, but I might drop it in there and lose it. They're so deep.
Oh my god, yeah, that's almost brand new. Wow. Whoever kept up this van did a really good job of taking care of it.
Somebody's horn is tooting a little, huh? Looks like you're leading us around to the back here. It's a good place to check out the trailer hitch.
Yep.
This one has it.
No step bumper on this van, but it does have a trailer hitch.
No step bumper. That was the next thing I had to check off.
This van also has a backup camera up here.
Oh wow, I wouldn't even notice that. Good thing to check for. Spyware. You will have a trailer hitch here as well as the step bumper.
It really is the combo.
We want to take a look for just any rust or anything around this van, which I have hardly noticed here. It's clean all up around the seal, which is something that I seem to have noticed. Rust seems to be there. What is a rocker panel?
That would be the lower panels over here.
Notice that sounds nice and hard when I hit it. Nothing falls, chunks of rust, and my knuckles didn't get all bloody from rust. On some vans that would be all rusted out, especially there. And if you can crawl underneath and look underneath there, this van is in really good shape. Other vans are rusted pretty badly there.
I'm looking at the frame down here. Just go a little deeper. It's worth it. You've got this fiberglass running boards here. Underneath is so good looking. And you can hardly hear that engine.
And one thing on the side over here, we got something called the rocker panel. It's a little bit rusty, not as clean as the other vans, but still pretty smooth. You just kind of give that a good slap, you know, make sure it's not going to fall out on you or bloody your knuckles.
It flakes off there pretty bad. That's pretty horrendous. And if you were to run your hand along there without being really careful, you'd come back bloody.
This one's got good solid bones for an old girl.
Love the badging. Really like the red Sprinter logo. That's a good touch.
It does. It really matches like the tail lights a good bit.
Thanks.
Oh, speaking of tail lights, what happened here?
Very shiny. Oof. I don't know.
Driver's side.
Does not affect performance of
No.
taillights, however.
But it's something you may need to replace or want to replace at some point. Aside from that, this is a pretty solid van. There is a ding here by the door. Got a story behind that one?
No, I don't actually. I actually think it came back from the paint shop like that. I'm not gonna lie.
But while we're out here, we should take a look at our forehead rust. It's gonna be at the very front of the van. Shiny forehead if I've ever seen one. So you could probably just kind of get your perspective up here. I have to step back a bit. We want to make sure that up at the top edge of that windshield and beyond it, there's not a whole lot of rust. That's what we call the forehead. You know, it doesn't make sense to me, but...
There's not much of a forehead on this one. It's more like a two-head.
Aww. We also want to check for some windshield rust. Got a little bit of it going on right here with this one, but mostly all the way across on both sides. It is smooth as a goose. That about wraps it up for Shorty and the exterior condition of the van.
Chapter 3, engine transmission.
First thing on our list here is to check the CDI module codes. What is that and what does it mean?
There he goes, there he goes, there he goes. You've brought with you your handy dandy code scanner.
The keys to the city right here.
So do you know what to do?
I think I know what to do.
You think so? All right,
Yeah.
let's see.
There should be a slot somewhere down here for you to plug your code reader in. However, I don't know where that is.
You see that? I'll plug it in.
Thanks.
And boom, green light comes on.
It sure does. How do I unlock this van?
And you want to put the key on now while it's reading the VIN.
Key on. And as we've read the VIN before, we know it's a WD. And we're in the USA. And we want to look at the control units. So we'll go to engine control module.
That's the CDI module on the checklist.
Read codes. Oxygen sensor is faulty. Okay.
There's not a giant list like I'm used to seeing. That's excellent. Somebody definitely takes care of this Sprinter.
And we're not going to erase the codes because we want to leave them there for the next person who comes to look at it, just in case we don't strike a deal on it.
A couple of things we want to check out under the hood is the oil level and color. I'm going to take just a guess here because I don't know what I'm doing.
Hold your notebook.
Thank you. Got a lot of things going on.
Since this van has a red dipstick, ideally you want to check out while the engine's hot, but you want to check it anyway to make sure there's oil in there. I always recommend checking the oil before you start the van. It'll give you an idea of the health of the engine and how well somebody has taken care of it. If it's a red dipstick, you should check it when it's warm, but I always recommend checking to make sure there is oil in there because some people won't keep up with it. Proper procedure is to pull the dipstick out, wipe off any residue, and then reinsert it and pull it out, and that is your oil reading. As you can see, the oil in this van looks excellent. It's just a little bit black, mostly golden undertones. And I don't see anything shiny or sludgy either. That's a pass.
Turbo resonator.
Turbo resonator is that aluminum piece right down there. A lot of times you'll see that to be a big black bulgy kind of thing. It's got that little black thing on there. That's not necessarily bad, it just isn't great. That aluminum thing means you'll never have trouble with the turbo resonator.
We covered the brake fluid.
Brake fluid.
Brake
Let's
fluid,
check that.
you can shake here and see it wiggling right there. And the lines, maximum, minimum. Obviously we're above maximum here just a little bit. We're all the way up at my thumb now. When I shake that, you can see it moving. So, radiator. And we can see there's water in there, just about where it says max. Transmission fluid, if you have a dipstick, we're gonna pull this cap off of here and dip it and look at the color of the fluid. Without the engine running, we can't tell how full it is. Without the engine warmed, we can't properly test it for how full it is. So we're not gonna worry about that right now. But you do want to, if you have the stick at least, you do want to make sure that there is fluid there and it's got some reddish to the color. It shouldn't be black.
So we'd go from here, we'd leave this open, now that we've got it open, and start the engine. We want to check if it starts easily, cap dents severity, smoke in the tailpipe, and how evenly it idles.
Coming back towards the front, there was just a little bit of smoke, but it wasn't horrendous.
All right, a little bit of smoke, let's make a note of that.
Might be worth noting that the van's been sitting now for 6 weeks in the pandemic.
It certainly started right up.
Yeah, that's for sure. Ooh, does the van start easily? I'd say it started pretty easily. Does the van idle evenly? I don't know, you're the mechanic.
Still perfect, sounds pretty good.
8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10?
8 out of 10, sure.
Cap dents severity, what exactly does that mean? Those are your words.
Okay.
So this cap dance test we're performing tests how good the engine's blow-by is. As you can see from our example here, the cap sits pretty well once loosened. Blow-by equals lost power. So if this cap were jumping up and down or dancing severely, we would run away from this engine.
It's, I'd say, basically dead silent in here, and the tachometer is not fluctuating, which is good. That means it's idling evenly. And the steering wheel is not so shaky that you can't hold on to it. So this engine passes.
Flying colors, I might add, for 500,000 miles.
I agree.
One of the things a lot of people like to check, I've never found it to be a problem on a van I'm looking to buy myself, but a lot of people like to check it, so I'm going to share this with you. We're going to take the plastic cover off here. There's 8 bolts on the 0203, only 7 bolts on the 04 through 06 to take this plastic cover off the top here. And we're going to look around at all the injectors. All right, that is incredibly clean and dry under there. If any of your injectors are wet, that would be a problem you want to look into. If you have puddles of diesel fuel or motor oil down in here, that would definitely be a problem you want to look into. Those are symptoms of black death growing on you. This van doesn't have any symptoms. Everything is really dry down there. We can see everything is really clean too. So we're just going to button this one back up and give it an A+. Okay, we'll read codes. All right, we have P2822, a stored code. Please refer to manual.
Wow.
Now,
Okay.
We actually built this in for you because we anticipated this issue. P2822.
Yes.
So since we're in here, we might as well take a look at the interior, which I have to say is stunning for a van of its age.
Why, thank you very much. I appreciate that
You
comment.
have done great work with this.
First impressions are everything. And this vehicle meets all those first impressions. I mean, look at everything in here. I would buy this in a heartbeat if I could.
First thing to notice about this van is that it is renovated into a camper van. Depends on what you're looking for, whether you want to renovate your own or start with one that's already done. Just
Table drops to make a solid bed.
Ceiling fans.
Ceiling fan exhaust out. 4 speakers in the back. USB, 12 volt.
And the carpets are pretty cool. Something to mention, I think, is that if it is a camper van, that's what you're looking for, you could make your own checklist on our notes page of things that you don't want to go without and sort of keep a tally of things that you might be interested in having in your van. And we'd also like for you to share that with us so that we know things that we could possibly add just to make it available as far as like kitchenettes and things. So we've got armrests, one on each chair I can see here.
Oh, only one, huh?
Only one.
Only one on each chair.
It's too bad.
Cheap bastards.
Headliner looks great. Got a kind of Spaceballs vibe going, but in a good way. Promise.
Very Starry Night. I like the renovation. We have a YouTube video on how to do this.
What is this green button here? Just
Don't push it, it'll explode.
I believe it.
That's the self-destruct button.
A couple of things. Finish up checking here. Seats are covered, so we don't know if they're in good condition, but if they're not, I wouldn't know better sitting here, so I'd say that's good enough for me. The armrests look good, a little bit worn in, but they're not missing chunks, and I've definitely seen that in other vans. So those are good. Power locks we verified with power windows, yeah?
Interesting note that this is a modified set of power windows here with the buttons in the middle rather than on the armrests, or on the door panels rather.
I gotta say, I do really like that.
I think there's some clever guys on the internet that can show you how to do that.
I know a couple of them. The heat and air conditioning, how is that in this van?
Oh, it's great.
Grade A.
Heat works, AC works.
Definitely among the things you want to test during the test drive. But
There's an air reason.
as a seller, well,
And finally, does this van have a second battery installed?
it does. It's underneath the seat. There's a inverter over here on this side, charge inverter. You can just turn it on to auto, and now we have 110 volts in the back of the van.
Sweet.
How much would this van sell for?
I've seen similar vans advertised in the ballpark of 16,000.
Wow. It's a bit out of my price range, but it is pretty spiffy.
Come by and make us an offer on it at Florida Van Man in Central Florida.
So in summary, class, we'll go over the most important things that you need to check when going through this checklist. Number 1 is the damage report. This side looks pretty good. We've got a dent up here. Mark that dent right there. Forehead looks great. I don't see any signs of immediate rust. Walking around the side of the van and looking at the rocker panels, they look excellent on a van of this age. Got a little dent right here. You also want to check the back doors for any dents or dings. And while you're at it, subscribe to Florida Van Man on YouTube. We'll have to draw any stickers or decals that'll help you remember the van later. We've done most of the walk around. We've covered the rocker panel. Let's go ahead and mark that this van has towing mirrors, no step bumper, has a trailer hitch. Tires are definitely in good condition on this van. The windshield rust around here is acceptable. Step ladder, you want to come up on the roof, and you can see there's a dent up here, but meh, it's not the end of the world. You want to come up here and especially inspect the roof seams. These are prone to leaking. It looks like this van's already been sealed before, and there's no signs of water leakage on the inside, so I'd say this roof is pretty damn good, especially for a T1N. So now let's move on to engine and transmission. We'll pop the hood and take a look. Okay, so the easy things to check. First of all, radiator level. Looks like we've got plenty of water in there. Plenty of brake fluid in there. Looks like just about the perfect amount, right at the max line. If you come over here, you can see this van already has the turbo resonator delete, so you'll never have to worry about your turbo resonator blowing and leaving you in limp mode while you're on the road. And since this van has a yellow dipstick here, that means it's check when cold, so this is the pristine time to check the van and verify that the level is proper. It's pretty black and sooty, but the level's just about right. For high miles van, I'd say sooty oil like this is pretty normal. Okay, so at this point you're ready to start the van and ensure that it starts easily.
Start the van. Started like an absolute champ. Sounds good. It's idling pretty well for a van with this many miles on it. Go check the transmission level. With the van running in park like this, it's warm.
It doesn't go all the way in, it just goes until it hits the bottom. It's halfway between.
We'll check the cap dents on it, see how bad the blow-by is. That's basically as good as it gets for a Sprinter. That's basically A. So while you're listening to the engine purr, you want to come in and enjoy the interior. In this van, the seats have been covered. That's okay because they feel great when you sit in them. Unfortunately, this van does not have armrests. That's okay, it doesn't mean they can't be added. This van also does not have power windows. It has manual windows. You can add those too. This van also does not have power locks, which isn't inherently a bad thing. What it does have, however, is cruise control, which is a great add-on. It's also running the Naughta-box up here for diagnostics. Check out our other video on that. And this van was manufactured in June of 2004. So that makes this van a 2004 Sprinter.
Maxwell House audio system there. 2 new Maxwell House made speaker boxes.
This van also doesn't have a second battery installed, but the headliner has been redone, and it's in a very pretty, almost kind of stone-like fashion. Less Starry Night, more stone-like. And that's just about everything. At this point, you're going to want to take it for a test drive and ensure that it drives good. And if it drives good and the price is right, I'd say snag it. I hope you love our buyer's guide, and I hope it helps you determine what Sprinter to buy and helps you organize all the ones you've been looking at.
Put them up. It's the law.
They look bigger. Oh my god. Thanks.
Just call me JoJo.
Okay.
Something going on with Green Van over there. Does that look green to any of you? No? Kind of looks like a shoe, if that helps.
Wow.
No one gets that but me. I don't know what it is.
Are you saying I'm the little old man who lived in a shoe during the school he swarmed?
I am now. That sounds adorable.